Hello and welcome to Old Man Energy. I'm your host, Flint Anderson. Today we're talking about mindset, motivation, and changes. Let's jump right into it. As you can tell, we have some changes. I've taken the studio down, disassembled it, and combined it with my workstation. So I might clean up some of this, might have a different background eventually, but right now I think the content's important, and especially what I want to talk about today, I want to get it out there, so I don't want to delay. That has to do with mindset, making sure that you stay focused and do what you need to do. I've spent a great deal of time over the last few weeks getting ready for the $750,000 mastermind, talking to tons of people over the last quarter, getting ready for this next class. We just have a bang up class this quarter for professionals, specifically folks coming in and looking to scale their business, people that are good at their craft already but want to learn entrepreneurship 101. It's interesting that most businesses all boil down to mindset at the end, and it really starts before we ever learn anything. And one of the most frustrating parts of that for me, and this could be as a sales rep, as an owner, as the author of the course, I don't know, you insert what you want with that, but one of the most frustrating parts is listening to people give up on themselves before they ever even get started. It's insanely frustrating to be talking to somebody who has already told you their reason for needing whatever it is. And I don't care what you're selling. In my particular case, I'm selling skills with the mastermind in how to grow, how to scale, how to build your business past what you're just doing. Solopreneur is a word that's going around right now. I think it's an incredibly stupid word. We seem to have a label for everything, but how to grow past just being you and a helper and actually scaling your business. That's what the mastermind does. That's what I teach. That's what I do. And you hear people and they'll come up with any excuse because we talk about what they want to do, why they want to grow. And it's usually they want to give their family a better lifestyle. They want to get out of debt. They want to make a difference in other people's lives. We all have these noble ambitions and goals. Very few people actually write them down, but those that are willing to acknowledge them and look at them, they'll explain them away. And I don't understand that in the frustration level of somebody giving themselves an excuse or giving you an excuse, because it doesn't matter what your sale is. If they don't want to buy, why not just tell somebody, hey, I'm not a good qualified prospect. I'm not going to do it right now. You don't need a long drawn out explanation. But in my particular business, when they do give an explanation, it's intensely frustrating. It makes you wonder, do they always give up on themselves? Have they given up on themselves? The excuses are, well, I want to wait. Maybe I'll catch this the next time around. No sense of urgency. I need to wait until I'm in a better position to take care of it, even though you know that they can afford it. Sometimes they can't, but it's funny. The people that do choose to move forward with it and that can afford it in their eyes are not always the ones who have a great deal of money and a lot of cash reserves. They just have value of them. Now, something could be said about being a sales rep who is good enough to sell and overcome all of those excuses. But at the end of the day, if you have to overcome somebody's excuses not to chase and follow their dreams, their belief system is not to where they're actually going to implement for the 12 or 13 weeks it's required. And that's the challenge in this type of program. Is it's real easy to buy a self-help book. It's easy to buy a course with a bunch of modules and you get a lot of stuff and you feel very important because you have some homework to fill out, you got some worksheets, you got some stuff to listen to. And if you do everything they say, then you might do a little better. But most of the people that actually invest in that type of course, they don't actually ever make a difference in their life if they go through any of the information at all. They just feel good because they bought it. 6 months later, they go down and they do it again. I know this because I used to be this guy. I'm not happy about that. Not really proud of that. But I did read all the stuff. I just wouldn't implement it, which is a little different. Most people never even get around to that part of it. But when I wrote the mastermind and whenever I wrote the course and started teaching the course, which I taught for free for a long time, just to make sure that I had the bugs ironed out of it and that I had some proof of concept that my ideas actually worked. And all I was teaching was what I'd done in the past. I didn't want it to be like that. I wanted it to be something that was scalable, but also something that was measurable. And the only way that you can measure your own success is to measure against your own position. So in the course, it's hard. It gets progressively harder throughout the 12 to 13 weeks. And the way we measure that is by setting goals at the beginning. So naturally, whenever I'm recruiting people to be a part of the next class, we're talking about goals, how to tie them to dreams. We're talking about things like that. It's a very dangerous place to be because people get emotional about their dreams, whether they want to admit it or not. And whenever you start talking to people about their dreams and trying to have them pin their dreams down and figure out what they really want to do, they have to admit what they haven't done already. And it's just, it creates a cognitive dissonance in them that is very, very difficult to overcome. They have to overcome it themselves. But they don't want to admit that. Guys, especially. I've got some ladies that have been through my course. I've got some guys that have been through my course. But the ladies in the course have a lot more ambition than the guys who'll give excuses for not doing it. And I mean, there's ladies that give excuses for not doing it too. But I particularly don't understand the men who will look at me in one breath and tell me that they want to make a better life for their family, and then tell me that they need to wait because they're not sure that they're ready to move out of their comfort zone yet. It just blows my mind. I look terribly confused when it happens, and I don't understand it. But again, doing the hard sale and closing on the hard sale, this is not like buying a car or buying a new big screen TV. This is a long-term commitment to improving yourself. And that's the one thing that the self-help and the motivation crowd misses, is there's a lot of people out there that want that instant dopamine hit from feeling good, either going to a retreat or a weekend seminar and feeling better about what they're doing, or buying that book, listening to that audio tape, listening to that podcast, getting all excited, getting hyped up. That's awesome. And I love it whenever people come to one of my events and tell me that they left excited. But what makes me happier is when they tell me a week or two later, man, I couldn't shut my brain off. I wanted to keep engaging, and I started doing different things to move forward. That's the real power in this. And it's the piece that a lot of people miss. They're not looking to be, most people are looking to be tourists. They're not looking to be permanent residents of this lifestyle because it's hard. It's much easier to show up, get excited for a few minutes, get excited for a couple hours, maybe a day or two, and then go back to real life. And half the time you don't even remember it. My challenge is that I would go and attend these seminars, honestly expecting to change my life. And I would always come home frustrated because there was no follow-up. I know there was a better way because I'd listened to people talk on stage. I'd seen people more successful at my particular craft or what I wanted to do. And then when I got back and I come up against life's roadblocks, I had no idea what to do to overcome it and nobody to reach out to. So when I've set up different programs over the years to help teach, some of them free, some of them charged for, I've always made sure that there's a follow-up and that there's a specific plan to be able to achieve something outside of the initial setup. When you talk to people about this, and over the quarter, because over the 12 weeks, I start recruiting for the next class, I start talking to people, and I've got to talk to hundreds of people over the time to find people that are actually qualified to be a part of the mastermind and to invite them in, and then to hear them give up on themselves before they ever even try is just heartbreaking, and I don't understand it. And I don't think that you out there think you're the person that I'm talking to, but we all know somebody like this. I want you to dig real deep. If you're listening to this, I want you to dig real deep, and I want you to think, are you in fact that person that gives up on yourself before you even try? Because people know this. People notice this. And if you're the person that gives excuses for never moving forward, your life is never going to change. You have to actually start living that life, moving forward, doing something different in order to make your life different. You have to start living differently in order to make your life different. This is always uncomfortable. It's never easy. It will always be harder than you think, and it will always require a lot more work than you think. And there's going to be days where you just want to burn the whole damn thing down and start over. It's like, you know what, forget it. I don't care. Especially the closer you get to the end goal, because the harder it gets. It really is like pushing a snowball uphill that gets larger towards you get to the top. And it never really does roll downhill. Now, it can get easier from time to time, but that's not because the snowball gets any easier or smaller or lighter. It's because you become accustomed to the burden and you understand that that's what's necessary to succeed and move forward. I try not to allow my frustration with people that give excuses for themselves or for others to come out, because ultimately they have to live with themselves. I don't. But when you hear that over and over and over again, and the rejection is part of a sales rep's life. And whether we like it or not, we're all in some sort of sales, especially if we own our own business and we're an entrepreneur. We have to be able to take rejection over and over again with a smile and just go on. But taking that personal, especially when you're talking about people's dreams and goals, and you believe in their dreams and goals more than they do, that gets very discouraging after a while. And then to do that repeatedly over and over and over again, it gets real easy to overlook or discount the people who actually believe and move forward and want that guidance and direction. You almost miss them. So no matter what it is, no matter what your goal is, no matter what your dream is, no matter what you are pushing towards in your life, take a look at the excuses that you're not only giving to anybody else, because a lot of people don't have these discussions with each other, or they don't have them with other people. There's not anybody out there selling. There's a lot of people out there selling courses on how to make your dreams come true. There's not a lot of people out there selling on how to do it and offering to teach you how to do it using your own guide and your metrics. So you have to dig deep inside and look at what you're telling yourself. Look at the excuses you're giving yourself for not doing it. You know what? Maybe you work 8 to 10 hours a day. Maybe you've got 5 or 6 kids. Okay, so I understand that. I understand that struggle. We have 7, and I've been a full-time entrepreneur most of their lives. So I get it. Sometimes you got to make some hard choices. Sometimes you got to make some sacrifices. It's way easier to make excuses than it is to make the sacrifices and to give up. It's also easy to get complacent in a life that's comfortable and give up on your dreams. If this is you and you've continued and consistently to lie to yourself and to tell yourself that you're okay when you know you're really not, this is the time to do something about it. Because honestly, it's never going to get any harder than it is right now to start anything. It might look like it's harder down the road, and you know what, your circumstances might change, but it's always going to be the exact same amount of work, whether you start today, tomorrow, next week, next year. You have certain things you have to do and you have to overcome. The economy has nothing to do with you chasing your dreams and goals. The economy doesn't matter. Who's in office doesn't matter. What's going on in your life doesn't matter. It's not an equivalent to anything other than you choosing to do what you want to do and move forward. If you're ready to do that and you want some help doing that, then reach out. If you're watching this on YouTube or on one of the other platforms, send me a message. I'd be happy to talk with you about what the next steps are. And if not, then reach out to anybody who's a mentor, who's doing what you want to be doing, and ask them what they think you should do. I'm going to tell you right now, the first thing you need to do is stop lying to yourself about why you're not doing it. I know this is not my typical episode, but it's important that you realize in the midst of all of this doom and gloom that you do not have to give up on what you want. If you are not out there pursuing your dreams and your goals, it's your fault. You're choosing not to do it. Your circumstances have nothing to do with it. So hope this helps, guys. We'll be back next week. If you do not follow me on social media, make sure and go check it out. The links are below. And like and subscribe here for all of our additional content. Love you guys. Peace.